Hi, welcome to Top Shelf Takes, the only show on the internet that is made up of complete fact and no opinion whatsoever. Today we're going to be talking about the best aliens of all time. Hey, so I'm super excited to get started about this galactic character list. So, to start things off, I'm Tim.
I'm Dylan.
And I am the most heavily edited character in all of FSA. And I am also Tommy.
And our wonderful guest joining us once again. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Katie. Nice to be back.
As excited as I am to get talking about the best aliens in pop culture, there's something I need to do first, and that's to introduce our guest judge of this week's episode. This blew my mind. It's Mr. Tommy Brennan.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds each. Then we'll get a rebuttal for 3 minutes. And the only one you have to convince is this guy. Alrighty. Eeny, meeny, miny, Katie, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm really glad that I changed it from Superman and Supergirl to this at the last second. My spot for number 6 is the Na'vi from Avatar. Not the animated series, the movie. They're like a spiritual indigenous people on the planet of Pandora. They're super cool, super tall blue people, and they're like really spiritually connected to nature and their planet. And they're just like, aliens that you care about,
Well, it's funny Katie should mention lovable blue aliens because my number 6 is the one, the only, the galaxy's most famous musician. It is Max Rebo from Star Wars. And for those of you who don't know, I can just pull up.
He's got 11 seconds, and I really hope he falls.
Off of him because he is the coolest alien in the entire galaxy. Max Rebo. What more needs to be said until the next round?
Nothing, because you're out of time.
For my number 6, I'm going to say one that I always feel like you guys always think I go really low with 6. I still think 6 is a good spot on the list, but not quite as good as the top 5. I'm going to go with Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy as my number 6. I'll go into my reasoning more in the debate round.
Oh, just sacrifice your 30.
Oh, you got 9 seconds. You want to plug something?
I am Groot.
Solid. I'm going to start the clock. Let there be blood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, wow.
Dylan, what is Max Rebo in?
Star Wars.
I know Star Wars, but I mean, how much is he in Star Wars?
He is in Jabba's palace and Jabba's sail barge, playing the music in the background. You gotta have live entertainment. Do you know how life harrowing and dangerous it's gotta be to be willing to go out to not only just the Tatooine to start with, and then going to the heart of the gangsters of Tatooine in Jabba himself, and your music is so good that Jabba brings you in and lets you play music for him, and he doesn't kill you. And you've got to, you know how great of a musician you have to be for Jabba to not murder you? He kills things for fun. You know how hard it is to please Jabba?
Katie, can I ask you of something? I need to tell you in advance. It's against my genetic code to argue against Max Rebo. I'm not saying he should be on the list. I just feel like I'd be betraying myself internally. So I'm asking you to make any arguments against Max Rebo.
Okay. My thoughts is just that Max Rebo isn't important to the plot of the Star Wars films, as cool as he is. Whereas with the Na'vi, they're a key part of the plot. The avatars that the title of the movie is in reference to is the avatars of the bodies of the Na'vi, so that the people, the humans, born humans, can become the Na'vi. And granted, that's, humans aren't nice to the Na'vi, but I just think they're more impactful, maybe.
It's tough because I was gonna say the humans kind of make the Na'vi a little boring, but I guess that's the movie more than on the characters themselves. I don't remember a ton about the Na'vi. It's been a while since I've seen Avatar.
They're really a beautiful people. They can literally physically connect, not only spiritually but physically connect to nature with their tails. and which is a little weird to watch, but like also like whoa. And then they have their goddess.
It's kind of
Paywall.
it kind of is kind of weird to watch though. Like it's a little strange, but you know who I'd rather watch than the Navi?
Max Rebo connect everybody
I'd rather
through his
watch
music.
Groot, and we haven't
Oh
talked
yeah.
guy.
What's his argument?
Groot is such a loyal friend. Like he's always got your back. He can do anything you want. He can make extensions of himself. He can lose limbs if he needs and just grow them back. He has 3 different forms. All of them have been great throughout the movies. My personal
I don't know about that.
my personal favorite has been Baby Groot. I put him at number 6 because of Teenage Groot. That's why I kept him at number 6. But I think Baby Groot and regular Groot earn so much love because of the massive amount of heart this character has. Remember when
And you're massively out of time. Dylan actually spent money on something. I think Max Rebo's gonna be number 6. Tim, do you have a number 5?
I won't keep anyone waiting. My number 5 is Chewbacca. We've already talked about Chewbacca a lot on this show, and he is the best companion, best sidekick of all time, as we've seen. And so Chewbacca holds a special place in all of our hearts. He is so loyal. He can do whatever you need. He's one of the best pilots in the galaxy. He's basically a dog best friend who's also a person. He can fire a gun. He can have your back. He's amazing. Love Chewbacca.
My number after 6 is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, because unlike Chewbacca, where Stitch hasn't necessarily been mentioned on previous lists before, and I think that's important. Let's open it up to more people. But Stitch, I love Lilo and Stitch. He was one of the first like iconic childhood aliens that like come right to mind when you think of like animated aliens. He's the first of a whole bunch of other aliens that come down, as you know, but he is the most iconic, and you watch him.
And you got nothing.
I was trying really hard to think outside of the box. And so I am a musical theater person. And I was like, are there any musicals that have aliens in them? And I remembered that there's a Halloween cult classic called Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't know if you've heard of it. That plot twist at the end, the people that work for Frankenfurter, they're aliens. And the castle they've been in the whole time turns into a rocket ship and flies into space and returns into their home. It's really cool. And yeah, I just had to get them. I had to get this on this list, man.
Dylan, let's try and convince Tommy that he's not going to go with Rocky Horror because
Tim, I can't say anything bad about
don't you yield.
Even I've seen
Tim, good luck.
They're Riff Raff and Magenta, I think, or at least 2 of them. Riff Raff sings Time Warp, a classic like dance instruction dance a la Cupid Shuffle and Cha Cha Slide, and also they're from the planet Transvestite, which is in the galaxy Transylvania. And just if you watch the movie, there's a lot of like awesome like transgender cross-dressing vibes going on. So that's just like the icing on the cake that there are like trans aliens.
Okay.
I don't know what else I can say. I think it's just amazing.
I'm just gonna say
I don't know if you have to say anything.
Look,
Good.
they sing great, and they have a lot of great tunes and a lot of good dancing, but I don't know if I'm gonna have as much fun traveling the galaxy as I would with Chewbacca.
But Chewbacca's on like so many previous lists. That's why I left him off.
I feel
It's 'cause
safe
we gotta
Chewbacca. I don't feel safe with Rocky Horror people. I feel
That's the point. You're not really supposed to. It's like Frankenstein, but make it trans. It's great.
I would rather hang out with Chewbacca than Stitch. Easy choice for me.
Stitch has a temper when we first
He
meet.
does have a temper.
He's literally a criminal.
He can kind of be
Grow
scary
and come around.
sometimes.
Well, that's
like
why,
Stitch
like,
can
you-
flip
but he
out.
comes so
Chewbacca's never
far.
flipped out.
That is just not true.
Well, he's never
he
flipped.
rips people's arms off.
Well, he doesn't flip out at Han. We have a cardboard
He
cutout.
flips out at Lilo. Stitch hurts Lilo.
Stitch does hurt Lilo.
Like he
Chewbacca's better than Stitch.
Well, yeah.
And that.
So
Give the spot to Rocky Horror and at least give Tim that Chewbacca's better than Stitch.
This is an easy decision.
I already wrote it.
Max Rebo can get the fuck off the list. Chewbacca is 6.
Whoa.
Oh,
Wait,
whoa! Tommy's
wait.
judging.
Katie's guy is 5.
Wait, you can't.
I just did.
So what's number 5, Tommy?
I forget the name of Katie's character.
Just you could say like Rocky Horror Picture Show aliens.
The whole play is number 5.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool. My number 4 is from the same movie that Stitch is from. My number 4 is Pleakley. Pleakley is like, you know, kind of a side character in Lilo and Stitch, but he really shines because he's just wacky and noodly and he's all over the place and he's fascinated by Earth. That's like his job, is to know about Earth, and it's his first time getting to be there in Lilo and Stitch, and it's very exciting. Also, like, we're bringing cross-dressing back because Pleakley is like a revolutionary in that for children.
And you're out of time.
My number 4 comes from the same universe as a certain baby Groot, and it is Gamora. Gamora is possibly my actual favorite character in Guardians of the Galaxy, up there next to, of course, Star-Lord. However, I think Gamora is just a complete badass. She has to overcome not only her childhood growing up with Thanos after he murders her whole family, she has to be constantly battling with her sister.
And you have to be constantly battling the time that's up.
Survival.
I'd like to say that I just changed my number 4. I originally also had Gamora, but after thinking about it, I think I need to go with the I am inevitable, the only one who can top her. I need to go with Thanos. In our lifetime, we were lucky enough to see one of the new pillar villains of fiction movies come to life. He will stand with Darth Vader and going down in history, and Hannibal Lecter and some of the other big bads. We got to see that live, and I think that needs to be mentioned on the best aliens of all time.
Mention it during the rebuttal.
I think Thanos is literally going to go down in history as one of the best movie villains, like prophilic of all time. When people list Hannibal Lecter, Darth Vader, these villains that transcend the films that they are in, I think the only one that we've seen in recent history, that maybe Heath Ledger's Joker, but I think Thanos just is another level. I really think, and just he is a villain that you weirdly sympathize with, but not in a way that makes you root for him, just in a way that you fully understand his intentions. You sometimes you respect him to some capacity, and that he has a goal and cannot be swayed by it, and he can literally destroy anyone he goes up against.
So
I
you're
don't know that you can say that, like, you know, ever generally that like people can kind of sympathize with him. I think you got to think about it in order to sympathize with him. I also feel like he's kind of like, hot take, kind of like a baby. Like, there's something whiny about Thanos to me. And then his goal is like weird, but I feel biased as a human about what his goal is. So
I would push back and say the movie Infinity War, if you rewatch that movie, purposefully makes him the main character. I truly believe Thanos is the main character of Infinity War because they had to do so much legwork to make you like understand why he's not just such a muhahaha stereotypical villain. He is terrifying. I am literally frightened when I see him on screen, and I don't see that from villains enough.
I mean, I would say that would be a reason to like almost double down on Gamora, because she's literally like under his shadow and like being watched over by him her entire life, and for her to even be able to like get out from underneath like the complete evil and chaos that was Thanos and be able to like come out on top of that and be better for herself afterwards.
I hear
and
you.
like going on and doing and succeeding in her own goals, being a total badass, quite frankly.
I hear you.
And helping to defeat Thanos. Yeah, like she helps defeat your character.
With respect to Gamora, because she was my pick for this spot, the reason I went to Thanos is simply because if you take it out of the context of the film, I don't know if Gamora is going to stand the test of time like Thanos will.
I just want to remind everybody that Tim said that he had Gamora in this spot before he changed it to Thanos at the last second.
No, and I just told you. Like I
also,
literally
who deserves to have their own movie is Pleakley. We should like take a break from the Lilo and Stitch films and give Pleakley his own movie, or their own movie, and have them, you know, cross-dressing adventures galore, disguises. Like, it would be a fun time because Pleakley's fun.
I like Pleakley. Yeah, I mean, Pleakley's a lot of fun. I think they can sometimes be a tiny bit of a buzzkill when Stitch is just trying to have fun and like he's trying to do his thing, and Pleakley can sometimes be a Squidward type character, which is
and sometimes time runs out. But number 4 is Thanos. I think this is cut and dry.
For number 3, I'm gonna do kind of an oddball choice. I'm gonna go with Gonzo of Muppets fame. We learned from Muppets in Space that Gonzo is in fact an alien from outer space. He wondered for some time. He had an identity crisis because he didn't know what he was. He was a whatchamacallit. And then he finds out through going through his own journey that he is in fact an alien from outer space. And we love him as he throws himself out of cannons and he does all these stunts for our enjoyment. Gonzo the Muppet.
Going down in history as iconic movie characters and breaking through expectations as well. And not only for her character, but like just for her movie character. It's Ahsoka from Star Wars, from the Clone Wars. Before you see her arc through that, she comes back in Mandalorian later on as an adult. And it is just, I'll save most of my argument for next round, but it is Ahsoka.
My number 3 spot is the whole reason I wanted to do this category in the first place. We are the Daleks. That's my number 3. I love Doctor Who. The Daleks are like the epitome of like antagonists for the Doctor. They're these little tiny squid guys that like got messed up in a war and now they just ride around in like battle suits, fighting people, blasting people with lasers, exterminating. That's their thing.
I personally, with all the respect in the world to Doctor Who, it just wasn't for me. I've tried a few episodes. It was shown to me by friends. That's not a point against the Daleks, of course. I'm just saying I don't know enough about the Daleks to give like an appropriate answer to them because I know Doctor Who is like, people love Doctor Who, and I'm so happy that they do. I'm sure there's great stuff in there. Just wasn't my cup of tea. But for Ahsoka, I'm gonna spoil alert. She needs to be one more higher. Ahsoka is everything that a Jedi should be. And
yeah, that's kind of my argument.
I agree, but she should be a step higher because of it. Gonzo's a perfect 3. Gonzo is a wild card pick that you probably forgot about until I just mentioned him now.
I think
But
it's
I thought of Gonzo.
Muppets.
He's a
He
little
brings
high
us-
for 3.
Okay,
Perfect for
Here
3.
is an alien. Here is an alien that can take us through classic literature like you wouldn't believe. We've seen him go on the Treasure Island ship as he sails along with pirates and he fights. He goes along in Charles Dickens' classic novel, A Christmas Carol.
They all do.
Gonzo.
That's because they
we
All
watch
the Muppets do.
Tin Man
All right,
in
well,
The
all right,
Wizard
all
of
right, all right,
Oz.
all right.
We
Enough
watch
about
Gonzo.
It's way too high.
No, I think we're good. I thought of Gonzo and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna put Gonzo on the list.
Of all that, he allows himself to be shot out of cannons, putting himself at risk for us.
The Daleks are, like I said, they're these little squid guys. Their planet Skaro was like at war with another race, and they literally were like destroyed by nuclear warfare. And then like and also like epic villain from the Doctor Who series, Davros, he like mutated them into the Daleks. And like I said, they ride around in these like cages, but they're actually little squid guys. But they're like, the fact that they're that tiny, but they're so still terrifying and like threatening, because they literally, Davros mutated them to get rid of any feelings like empathy or any of that, and left all of the feelings to keep them a superior race and not weak, which just means like straight up exterminating and killing people. And then like that, they have the fun little tagline of like exterminate. Like they're terrifying, but also like funny, and you have to laugh at them. And it's just like the perfect balance for the villain for one of the best and most inventive series of all time.
It's a Dalek because this thing's fucking weird looking.
Yeah, look it up. Good.
Yeah, so I gave a little spoiler alert last round. My number 2 is Ahsoka Tano. Throughout all of Star Wars, we've been told that what a Jedi is and the standard that they hold themselves up to. But most of this is shown through memory or in the prequels, where the Jedis all kind of look like a bunch of assholes, or in the form of Luke or Rey, who really have to figure it out on their own because they're the last of these like Jedis. Not trying to say the name, but we're shown a perfect example of what a Jedi should be and is, and holds themselves to that pillar in Ahsoka Tano, and she doesn't even need to be in live action until lately to gain that following and respect that she's earned. She goes through so much. She survives Order 66, and she has earned her spot as one of the best aliens of all time.
Number 2, because sometimes all you want is a bunch of action-packed explosions and robots just punching each other, destroying each other. And who more iconic than the man, the leader himself, Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime, yes, he is in fact a robot. He is a robot from space. He comes down, and if it wasn't for him and the Transformers, the Decepticons would literally just plow over Earth.
Time. And good pun.
Yeah, okay. I didn't even realize that these ladies are aliens. But in my research, I found out that the crystal gems from Steven Universe are in fact extraterrestrial. They're a badass group of ladies that just kind of got like left on Earth after a big rebellion happened. They're rebels, a la Star Wars, and they're just really cool. And I'll talk about more about it later.
All right. Then later begins right now. Keep going.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. I feel betrayed because in the Best Robots game of Top Shelf Takes, I tried for Optimus Prime. I tried to get him on that list. And you know who raked the coals for me for that? You know who said what a stupid pick Optimus Prime was? The man sitting right next to me. So I don't want to hear another word about how Optimus Prime is a great character after you bludgeoned me to death on a prior list.
So first of all,
no.
This is a brand new list. You can't bring my former takes back onto.
But you hit him as a character.
I hate him. I never said I hated him, first of all. Second of all, I knocked him as a list off the robots. I am putting him on the list as an alien because I'm an alien robot. If you go to his place, they're not called robots. They're all just Transformers because they're all the same thing because they are an alien species, Tim. We consider them robots because they come down here and they're not people, they're aliens.
But like when you think of Transformers, you think of them as robots. You don't think of them as aliens. So why would they not be on the robot list?
Well,
over being on the alien list.
I agree. Listen,
I would say without you talked about Thanos last round and everything he did. I would say you could argue that my God. The Decepticon, not Optimus Prime. Megatron could be on that same level if it weren't for Optimus Prime coming in and kicking him around every single time they meet. If it's not, yes, right. Why not?
Now we're gonna get filibustered by Optimus Prime, and I don't want that. Ooh. So, listen, Ahsoka just goes through the most. She has to go. She has to survive. She is like a lone survivor who has to outlive everyone else who practices the Jedi Order. She does this, and she rises above it. And she does this before Order 66. Even she leaves the Jedi Temple and goes off on her own because she's that strong. She learns so many lessons and her character improves each time. By the time we see her in Mandalorian, she's wiser. She's learned. She doesn't have as much of a sense of humor just because of what she's been through and had to deal with, but she's used all that skill and become a stronger person because of it. When they were making the Clone Wars, the fans had asked George Lucas for an alien character that was a main character and not a sidekick and a female Jedi, and they were given that in Ahsoka Tano. She is amazing in every way, and she deserves to be so high on this list.
I just want to dive in and explain the crystal gems more. They're from the cartoon show Steven Universe? No, wait. Yeah. Steven Universe. Yeah, because that's his name. They're from the TV show Steven Universe. Was just a show like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Clone Wars that transcends age. There are grown-ups and adults that really appreciate and like this show because it's a good show because the gems are like really positive, influential characters. They're like crystals. They're the crystal gems. They're each like named like lapis lazuli and amethyst and stuff like that. There are a cast of characters. There's also a little bit of lesbianism in there, which is good for kids to learn about young. Want to be inclusive. And they also kick ass. They like each have their own superpowers that come from their gems.
And time. You know what I love?
Well, it's this. What?
I love hypocriticism. I love good guy aliens. And I really love alien trucks.
Wait, are you siding with me?
Dylan, the number 2 on this list is Optimus Prime.
Considering you took Max Rebo from me, I will gladly take
this is a Top Shelf Takes travesty.
Dylan, start.
Yeah.
Whoa, my number 1. all-time #1 top aliens ever to be in and of existence.
Say it for the people in the back.
He is a grand wise master.
Mhm.
He has trained hundreds and hundreds of people before him in the ways of the Force and the ways of the Jedi teachings. If you want to talk about actual original Jedi that follow the Jedi ways, it is Yoda at the #1 spot.
Time.
I was going to concede it anyway. What more needs to be said?
Katie, begin.
Me? Oh, okay. Again, like I said, it's the whole reason I wanted to do this category in the first place. My #1, woo-wee-oo, I'm pulling a Max Rebo. I have a prop. It's the Doctor of Doctor Who. Here's my TARDIS. The Doctor's just a really kind-hearted alien that looks like a human, but actually isn't. He has like 2 hearts. That's how kind-hearted he is. And I'll go more further into detail about that because there's even more about how great he is. Or they are, because now there's a woman one too.
Who's Tim?
Give me my introduction, Tommy.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. I don't think I want to.
We all have props. Love that.
Tim, what do you got to say?
There's a clear #1 here. And he is Jedi Master Yoda. Of course it's Yoda. If we're pulling props to the table, I'm happy to bring Yoda. Ben Kenobi introduced us to the concept of the Force, but Yoda made it beautiful. Yoda made it powerful. Yoda made it a fully realized entity that we could really wrap our heads around. And he is so wise, so lovable, so funny. Like, he really makes you laugh in that second movie. He holds such a weight in the series through all 3 trilogies. He has
In all 3 trilogies, we'll have to stop it next out of time.
The whole reason I wanted to do to do aliens was because I love the Doctor so much. The Doctor, again, looks like a human, but he's not. He's from the planet Gallifrey. The Doctor's like one of the last of their kind, because Gallifrey was destroyed. Can't go home. Like I said, he has 2 hearts. Doesn't like guns, which is a hot take for an alien. Cares very much about Earth, like is particularly like focused on, like, honestly, the Doctor, why I love the Doctor so much is because the Doctor is basically a superhero. Like, just epic. They have invented, again, this is a show that was on, like, started in like the 50s and the 60s, went away, and then came back. It's a cult classic show because the Doctor's epic, and because it's one of the most ingenious, like, tropes of all time, where the alien species that the Doctor is can regenerate, so they can have multiple actors play the Doctor. And so that they can have multiple doctors of like different genders, different personalities. And then on top of it, it's funny, it's inventive. The Doctor's always like witty, but in different ways because they have to like change it up. Like, he basically dies over and over again, like a butterfly in a cocoon over and over again.
It's as he rises up
Katie,
out of the ashes.
may I get in here? Because this is how I'm going to tackle the Doctor. Because, I have respect for the Doctor. They've been around for a while. They take different forms. Here's the thing. Both of these characters have been in multiple different forms of media, like either sequels, through different directors, through different hands, creative hands, whatever. And yet, I personally don't feel that there is a shitty version of Yoda, but there are shitty versions of the Doctor.
I'm sorry, what?
Some of those really old doctors are boring with a capital B. They seem like stern old white men that just like are like angry to be there.
Hey,
and I'm sorry.
You like didn't like the show's not your taste.
I know.
It seems
I know,
biased.
but like even I know David Tennant is charming like you wouldn't believe. But if I go look at old man what's his face from the 1950s, I don't really want to watch
It's
it.
like you don't have to. You could just watch David Tennant or Peter Capaldi.
But
That's the glory. You could pick the Doctor.
Yoda,
Yeah,
no matter
you can pick
what
your
Star Wars-
favorite.
No matter what Star Wars movie you like or hate, Yoda's always solid. Yoda's great through the prequels. Yoda's great in The Last Jedi. If you hate The Last Jedi, you still admit that the Yoda scene is great. Like, Yoda surpasses everything, and he is such a firm believer in everything that he practices and teaches. He always has real life advice that you can take away from the movie. Like, literally, his scene in Last Jedi, that's real advice that you can use in your life.
The Doctor does that too.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't. My main argument for the Doctor versus Yoda is that personally, I feel though
Time.
Nah, I'm thinking wherever Tommy picks at number 1 is number 1, and whatever isn't picked goes to the number 2 slot. I am willing to give up Optimus if that means we can have more iconic alien characters in the top of the list.
I have an alternate
See?
suggestion.
I am the say all.
I was going to ask you. Can I say it before?
Yeah,
before
consider my statement a question.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, Tommy, directly. And Katie, you'd also have to sign off on this. I was going to offer that I think these are both really strong characters, and I'm sorry that I kind of was mean to the Doctor.
Yeah,
Just I need to argue against it.
So he's old too.
Yeah, that's fair. But I was going to say, if all parties agree to it, what if we have a tie for number 1?
Whoa.
It would have
1A and 1B?
It would have to no 1A, no 1B, and I also think
They're both number
the
one.
list gets too complicated. I am simply suggesting that if all parties unanimously sign off on it, we hold a tie for the number 1 spot.
I prefer the tie, but I'm open to either of these things.
And let me just add, if a tie was to take place, this would be Top Shelf Takes history in that every single player gets the number 1 spot.
That's true. True.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It's a little crazy.
We are making
but
monumental moves.
It all
here on
comes
Top
down.
Shelf Takes
It all
tonight.
comes down to the most important man of the evening,
The man of the hour, if you will.
our one and only judge, Tommy.
I'm gonna
Tom,
put my
what
face
is-
in.
The third.
What is your decision?
See, like I said in the beginning, and this is not a slide on the Doctor, but I have got a moral objection to putting something that looks like a white dude at a number 1 on the aliens list.
But he's not an
So
alien.
it's going to be Yoda as number 1. Number 6, the galaxy's finest co-pilot, Chewbacca. Number 5, my dad's favorite cartwheel anthem, Rocky Horror's Picture Show. Number 4 is everyone's favorite galaxy slayer, Thanos. Number 3, the only squids I've ever seen in a tin can, Dallas. Number 2, the only 16-wheeler I will never cut off, Optimus Prime.
That was
And number 1, the only character on this list I'm taller than, Yoda.
Whoa, that was crazy, guys. We just got to figure out who the official top 6 list of the best aliens of all time were. Thank you so much, first and foremost, to our wonderful judge, Mr. Thomas Brennan. Wow, that was phenomenal judging, sir. Thank you to my fellow Top Shelf Takes arguer, Dylan. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. And to our guest, third time on the show, I believe. But Katie, thank you so much for coming. We'd love to have you back. If you would like to join us again, you're always welcome.
Of course, yeah. You kept coming on a respectful conversation. I'll keep coming on Top Shelf Takes. Also, watch Doctor Who.
Is that your plug?
Yes, my plug is watch Doctor Who.
Beautiful. All right, guys, if you liked what you heard here and you want to see more, click that like button, click that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. Give us a comment down below. Let us know what you think are the best aliens of all time or who you thought got snubbed. I apologize, it will not be the official top 6 list because that is now officially in the books, but I would still love to hear what you have to say. We'll see you next time. This is Top Shelf Takes.